if I remember rightly, that Rob Roscott put the Santa Cruz Syndicate team together, and you
Yeah.
got the job to be the team manager, where you actually got paid and stuff. I hope in
Yeah.
the early days.
That
Uh,
happened, yeah, yeah, because, Darren had created Intense Tire Systems, and, we were on Santa Cruz Frames, and so then Darren wasn't gonna do the team anymore, so Rob liked the idea of the team, and in 2004, he's like, "Hey, I wanna, still have the team,
mhm.
and would you like to be the team manager?" And I said, "Yes," and then, he said, yeah, we talked about, like, "What do you want?" And I said, "Rob, you can, let me do what I want, when I want, how I want, and you can pay me whatever you want." And we had that deal for 16 years until Santa Cruz finally said, like, hey, we need a contract here. We need to make you an employee or something." But it was so nice to have such a honorable, like, I always really respected that we were both doing it for the love and the respect of one another. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed the aspect about, yes, money came, but I wasn't doing it for the money. And then yeah, anyway, you can do that with Ross Kopp. He's just that kind of guy. He's amazing.
But obviously, there's a lot of teams that are different to that sort of ethos.
Well, yeah, pretty much all of them. I don't think anybody could have, would have, or ever have done it that way before. But see, this was what's so great about Rob is, like, he didn't try to mold people into something they are not. He picked good people and he
Yeah,
helped support them to be what they are. And
yeah.
that was really the nature of, how we built the syndicate.
Hmm.
And he and I saw it in the same manner, so he could release me to go do it because he knew his values were supported because they were my values as well,
Yeah,
and that we could develop, what we did and not try and shift and change people just to, let rat be rat. And um yeah, because I remember, like, "Oh, we got this young kid, he wants to call himself Rat." I mean, that's just weird. And it's like, well, it's just what he is, and you just let him be him, and then it is just that. And so that was really important, is just to let people, be who they are.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the what you guys did with that team, and as well as the riders, the personalities you had on the team, which I think made Santa Cruz into the brand that it was, um, and made it like the coolest bike brand out there that people wanted to buy into. In my
Mhm.
opinion, it was the race team that did that. Obviously, the guy Rob and the guys at Santa Cruz started making some really nice, obviously bikes that worked and they looked good and they were good, but the race team and all the characters on the team is what made Santa Cruz what it is, in my opinion. um
Yeah. I like to hear that because I certainly see it that way.
yeah,
And this is where also too authenticity just shines through, and that's what everything about it was authentic. And yeah, and then what it's doing for the brand is bringing that authenticity into the scope of the observer, who
yeah,
then wants to, appreciate the quality, products and be a part of the authenticity, and then what we're creating, which was just, like, amazing. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think there ever has or ever will be again a team of that nature that was just so dynamic. It was very unique, and I'm so pleased to have been a part of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were a lot more than a part of it. I think, if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't have been, anywhere near what it was. I mean,
Thank you.
the work ethic that you have, and how much you put into it, and then you can also party with the best of them. The energy that you've got while the race is going on, the energy you've got after the race, and then the day after is just it's incredible. I just don't know how you did it. Is
Thank you.
just did you just enjoy every part of it?
Yeah, it is, again, just letting the energetics and the enthusiasm just shine through. And let's remember, we were winning a lot of races, so it's very easy to stay enthusiastic and have high energy, when you're having so many successes. And yeah, we had a lot of dips and lulls and all this, but you don't really remember those. Mm. I
No.
don't.
No,
No.
obviously, it was really cool that, for a time there, Rob, it was like, the owner of Santa Cruz was coming and supporting you guys. You guys always, went had amazing events outside of the races that you did for the athletes, and it was kind of just the whole thing that you were doing made people want to be part of Santa Cruz. And I think if you and Rob hadn't have done that, I don't think the brand would have been anywhere near what it was, because as well as a race team and race results and bikes, you created like an amazing like more of a brand, like a brand that you want, that people want to buy into, and be a little tiny part of that, and I think I don't think
Yeah.
that's, like you say, is ever been done before, or will probably be done again, maybe.
Yeah, I reckon not. But that's really nice to hear because what we're talking about is people authentically expressing their values and their love, and other people finding that resonance for it and sharing that with us. So I'm really pleased to hear that you viewed it that way, and if you did, many people did, and that the expression of what we were putting out in the world had that kind of a effect into the world is a very positive thing. So I'm really pleased to hear that. Yeah.
Oh, you should. Well, I know you're proud of it, and you should be proud of what you've done there.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, I still got like in the background, there's one of the team photos. Yeah.
and obviously you've had lots of different athletes that you've worked with on the team and stuff, and obviously now with your new team, but um have you had any favorites? Have you had any people riders that were easier to work with and ones that were difficult to work with, or were they all kind of just individuals and you
Oh,
enjoy?
yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, some of them were a lot of work.
Which ones were the
Oh,
most work, would you say?
oh my goodness gracious. Well, like Cameron Zink was a bit of work. He was a young kid,
Yeah.
and we were trying to allow him his expression, but he was pretty young, but he was like absolutely amazing person, but he was also one that people were trying to constrain. So it was a balance to try and get him to be expressing himself. But he was a young kid and he was marching to the beat of his own drummer. It just was in conflict with some of the other the management, um, which was before the complete syndicate was going on. And
And bearing in mind that, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but you let him build some giant jumps on your property as well.
yeah, we built some big jumps out there. Yeah, that was Jamie Goldman.
Okay.
He came out. Yeah, and then Kirk Voorhees. Yeah, we had some massive like on-off box and all this kind of stuff so they could train. Yeah, I mean everybody is like, well, Kavarik back in the day too. He was a handful. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just corralling Chris and trying to learn how to corral Chris. When the train's moving this way and you're not going to get the train to turn around, but you need to get into the rental van, you try and find ways to do it. So I remember like when I was in Durango or somewhere and finally get him into the rental van and then, oh great, got him, getting him home and driving down the freeway and all of a sudden the big side door comes open and we're driving like 50 miles an hour down the highway and you're like, dude, like just stay in the car, please. You think you've got them. So, sort of managing and corralling and, watching the cats. And then, as far as favorites go, Greg has always been someone that I've gone on really well with,
Mhm.
and we have like a really great friendship. So that doesn't necessarily mean he's a favorite. He's just someone that I've always generally gotten along incredibly well with, as well as Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we still have incredible friendships to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. And
Yeah.
so, like, what would you? Is there any years or any achievements that, obviously the team got so many achievements, but is there any that really stand out as like the most, the thing, achievements that mean the most to you?
Yeah, one of the ones I refer to often is as a manager, I would be the only person in the world to have this perspective, would have been in Australia, world champs in 2009, where
Mhm.
Steve won the race and Greg was second.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one because you could look at as like the crowning success, but yet it was also very emotionally charged because not only did I have my athlete have the biggest win of his career, I also had my athlete have the most devastating second place of
Yeah.
his career all
Mhm.
at once, like weird. And then to see what Greg had gone through that week, here we are in Australia, and he's away from home as you do, and his beloved grandmother had passed. So she had gone into the hospital that week and wasn't doing, and then she passed, and he was devastated and so far from home. And I remember telling him, hey, this is just bike racing. This means nothing. Like, you want to get on a plane, think about it in the morning. I'll put you on a plane. You can get home and you can go be with your family. And he decided to stay and to race. And how he got through that week, um, I'll just never know. And so to see him lose world championships by 5/100ths of a second after going through that week
Yeah.
was very emotionally devastating for me to observe, as
Mhm.
well as Steve getting the world championship win, all within the same moments of one another. It was
Yeah.
a very interesting dynamic, both very successful, yet very emotionally,
Different.
wow. Yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. When you put it like that, I can imagine. I mean, I was at that race with that was one of the first years I was running the chain reaction team, and yeah, it was a great day for Steve to win, and it was super close in the race. Um, and so um, moving on through through the years and with Santa Cruz, and I've been through similar things. W- did the dynamics change much when Santa Cruz kind of sold out to the big corporate company that bought it? And I know Rob was still involved for a
Mhm.
while there, but did that change the team, the way the team worked in your role as a team manager?
Things started changing. Definitely Rob really tried to retain all the integrity of what he initiated with the team through all that. But the only constant is change. Nothing was ever going to stay the same. And so we watched things gradually change and just a natural progression. And we had rider change ups and it was going to be changing again. And um, yeah, Rob was less involved. And um, yeah, in those final years, the magic was gone. The um, the real core value of like um, what Rob and I expressed wasn't going to be continuing in the syndicate, like our expression, our choices, who we would have picked for writers or whatever. There were different people making those decisions, and not incorrectly. It's just that the time had passed for the reasons Rob and I expressed ourselves within the team and making choices had shifted. It had changed. Yeah.
And also, I guess it was a similar time, or maybe a little bit before that, but obviously in 2014, Josh had been on the team for a number of years. You guys brought him on through Steve as a junior and stuff. But
Mhm.
in 2014, which was a really competitive year, Aaron Gwynn was on the scene. Had been doing amazing the year before that. Sam Hill was on our team, and he was coming back into form. There was Stevie Smith and a bunch of other really fast guys, and Rat just looked like he was like cruising down the track, like in sections between the gnarlier sections. He looked like he'd given up, and then he'd come down to the end, and he'd be like 2, 3 seconds up on everyone, and it just looked so easy for him to be winning that year. And then obviously, what was going on in the team then? Was that difficult for for Greg and the other riders on the team, for Rat to just be coming up and winning so easily and looking like he wasn't even trying?
Yeah, I don't remember it being, I mean, I'm not Greg or Steve, but, I don't remember seeing expressions of it, more just, happy, supportive for Josh doing so well. Um, yeah, and Josh coming into his own and just, I just love this, like, his expression on a bike is just so beautiful, and as his expression in life, and, he was being met with great success, and, it was well supported and observed from all sides. I didn't see any jealousies or anything like this, because still Steve and Greg were also being still successful at the same time as well, and, yeah, I think there was just, more, appreciation for Josh hitting some stride and reaching his potential.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think. But I don't know what was really going inside the minds of those athletes, but it's
yeah.
from a team aspect of I don't
Uh-huh.
remember any conflicts.
Cool. And then obviously that year, Josh was at the peak of his, racing career, and then he got that foot injury in half yell.
Yeah.
And that obviously it was a big injury, and any big injury affects different riders differently. But he just the year after, he just didn't seem to have the same mindset. And what do you think that was? Do you think it was the injury, or do you think it was just he just done what he wanted to do? And with Josh, it's like maybe it's not the be all and end all.
Yeah, I think, the way you even phrase the question is really indicative of your understanding of Josh's nature as a human and as a racer. And, um, you can look at that in so many ways, but I think being thrust into the expectations of that high level of performance and achieving it, and then having that devastating injury. Um, you, I don't know what went through Josh's own psyche, but observationally, there's a becomes a different desire for maybe what's important and how you want to express your heart. And I don't think he was able to express what was fully inside him within the scope of World Cup racing. That's what I think. And I remember, like, in subsequent year when he was going to be retiring from the racing, um, it he knew it was going to happen, and we had many discussions like, hey, you've got to follow your heart and you've got to be honest and true. But to I think to be racing at that kind of a level, you have to have want it so badly more than anything else in the world, and I don't think that was so important for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What did the powers that be at Santa Cruz think of that? Did they try and talk him around? Because, I think Josh at that time, how he was riding and how he, how effortless and amazing he made bike riding look. Obviously, that was a big part of, making Santa Cruz such a cool brand. So were they worried about that, or did they just sort of go along with what he wanted to do?
Yeah, I don't remember exact details of what went on inside Santa Cruz, more from Rob's perspective that Rob is always going to support the rider in whatever they choose to do. So Rob would have been supported and was supportive of whatever choice Josh was going to make, and would help him out lovingly and gracefully. Yeah, as he made that transition.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember sitting with Josh at Mount St. Anne when we were talking about what new riders we were going to bring in, and then Josh was going to be leaving. And it was quite emotional because, I looked after Josh for so long, but then also recognizing that the fire in his heart for winning races wasn't there, and that's okay, and to really recognize that and appreciate that, and just let him know he's loved no matter what choice he makes. And what was so great in Leger, I hadn't seen Josh for years, and I saw Josh and Sylvester and Jesse for the first time in years. It was so touching for me. Um, he came into the Norco pit and Greg was there, and I'm like, oh, you guys, this is just like, for me, this was just so joyous because it instantly, you have that heart connection that you had for all those years. And I had someone take a photo of us and stuff, and it just felt so good and so nice. And this is where like people come in and out of your life, and maybe, you know, Josh hasn't been my writer for years yet. The impressions and the bond that we have is like the one we have with you as well, Nigel. It transcends time,
Yeah,
and it was very special to see him. I was very grateful to see him,
yeah,
very proud of him, very, very beautiful. Such a nice man.
yeah. He is. He's a lovely kid, and well, he's a lovely adult now, and
I know, I know.
he's one of a kind, and it's lovely to
And
see.
he's true to that, which is amazing. He's such a beacon for authenticity.
Hmm.
Josh is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. And
Yeah.
then, so do you, obviously, you know, you ran the team so successfully for so long, and then
Mhm.
what kind of happened? If do you want to talk about it towards the end?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I don't know about what happened, to be quite honest. Just going along, and um, they were going into year were we in? We had done 2020 and 2021,
So
and
COVID year was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? With only so many races you could go to.
yeah, and we still did it very successfully, and still had really good success. And that fall, there was a lot of interesting changes going on in the world at the time, and they were bringing on new athletes and rechanging, changing up structure, and then uh, in early December, I had a call saying that they were going to change the structure of the team, and they weren't going to have team management in the same way that they had done it before. They wanted to bring it more in-house. And so they eliminated my position. And they looked after me, they took care of me and stuff. But yeah, it was a bit surprising and shifting and changing. And I accepted it and thought, okay, well, now I can take a big long rest.
I mean, deservedly so, but did you want
Yeah,
the rest at that point?
I
You
wasn't planning on it. I wasn't planning for it, but the powers that be um, saw things that I don't know. Again, I don't know. I talked to somebody recently um, from who probably knows a lot more about it than I do, and what they observed maybe was like, I don't know, surprising.
and
And so
when you say the powers that be, like who are these powers that be?
the higher ups in the organization of Santa Cruz and or Pond, whoever made the decisions to uh, make those changes in the team structure. So
And they, and they
yeah.
to make those decisions, you would hope that they they followed the racing as much as we do. They are invested in the
Mhm.
race in as much as we do, but I imagine they're not.
I don't know, and like, who knows? Maybe they didn't see the value in what I did, or they just wanted to change it up and do it in a different way. I don't know, but then they have done, and so one can argue, what do you prefer? So yeah, it's a matter of preference. But now I have this incredible, wonderful opportunity. I mean, I always thought, well, you know, something will come my way. I'm not going to go out seeking, but if something comes, and there was a couple of times, was going to do a team with Martin Whiteley, and at the last minute it fell through. And so, and then I was also going to do with GT, and then that shifted and didn't happen. And so, yeah, the fit wasn't just quite right. And so then last November, and then even a couple of years in those years Greg had always been trying to put together a team. He'd been wanting to express himself in a way where high performance is what Greg's about, and product development and the engineering and this type of thing, and things that he tried to do in Santa Cruz many times, but kind of got thwarted or not supported in that nature. And there was yeah, for those couple of years, he's like, oh, I'm working on maybe a deal with this team. And, if this happens, would you like to be a part of? And I'm like, yep, of course. And then that wouldn't come through. And that happened a couple of times. And so November of last year, I got a call from Greg, and, he could barely get the words out of his mouth when I said yes. Yeah, it took a few years to sort this one out. But this has probably just been what's just been percolating all along, that out in the horizon was this team that was developing, that was going to be high performance with incredible engineers, incredible opportunity, and something Greg's, I could almost call it like Greg's like little dream bubble been floating out around in the ethers. And it just took a few years for it to shake down into the reality of to make it happen. And it all happened very fast. Just in November, and Gwen Van Lingen at Norco and Sean Sullivan to see this opportunity and jump on it and make that happen so fast. It was absolutely amazing. The support they've given us is incredible. And Greg is able to realize the potential he had for that engineering and the development and the team development and the aspects also of the team. He's brought in Alan Milway and his high level performance abilities with the athlete, and then the high level performance of the engineering, the development there is Greg's dream. And then of course he needed someone to run the show and to do all the cooking. And so that's my role, and I'm loving it, every minute of it. And all the other athletes on the team were just absolutely incredible too. So yeah, we're having a good time.
Well, yeah, it's an amazing new program, and they're really lucky to have you. That was one of the things I was thinking. What when you left the syndicate team, I bet they didn't realize how much you did for them until you were gone. And I can,
I know Rob had told them, when, if you get rid of her, you're gonna have to have at least 2 people to replace her. And in the end, I heard that 4 different people took my job. Yeah.
sure didn't do it anywhere near as good as you did it. I mean,
Oh, thank you. I agree, but
yeah, but the amount of effort you put in, and they always had all the amazing food and ready, and they never needed to wait or ask, or it's you couldn't ask for any more than what you did for them. So,
Oh,
uh,
thank you.
I don't wish anybody any bad in the sport, but I hope they realised how much you did for them when you were gone. I'm sure they did.
Yeah. Well, somebody obviously does, and Greg obviously knew the value and the importance, and that's why he's asked me to come back. So that's a nice respect there. Yeah.